You guys, Erin here, back with another moon update for you. I will also be covering some other very interesting things that are going on astrologically. But let's start by talking about this new moon. So first of all, for those of you who are new to my recordings, every time we have a new moon, which is every single month, we have an opportunity for new beginnings. And the new beginnings, the energy of them would be specified by the energy of the sign that the moon is transiting through. Okay, it's like this new moon is in the sign of Cancer. Okay, so this is an opportunity for new beginnings to like start the growth. It's the beginning of the growth cycle that takes 6 months to peak until we have a full moon in the sign of Cancer, and then it will start to subside. So we write down what it is we want to manifest, the growth to experience that has to do with this sign of Cancer over these next 6 months. Okay, so this new moon takes place on Tuesday, June 28th at 7:52 p.m. Pacific time. So for those of you over in the UK, this would actually be on the 29th. Okay, so the sign of Cancer. Cancer is this very emotional energy. There's a lot of very, very emotional energies going on right now. Just to give you a little heads up, I'm going to pull up the chart and show you guys in a minute, but there really is a lot going on. Not only can I see in the chart, but I can just see it in the world. So this sign of Cancer, it's the cardinal water sign. By cardinal, what I mean is it's got force. It's got this moving forward type of energy. And the water element makes it very emotional. The sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon. And if you've seen my videos before, you've heard me say that the moon rules our emotions and our moods and our intuition. So if this sign of Cancer, it definitely has a very strong intuition. It's very much associated with like a nurturing energy. It's very much associated with the mother, okay, and how mothers can be very intuitive. And so we can experience growth with these things. We can experience growth in, trying to work through our emotions a little more, appropriately or maturely in a healthy way. We can experience growth with our, expanding our intuition. There's actually a strong connection going to Jupiter through this new moon. So there can definitely be some expansion using our intuition. The sign of Cancer is very appropriately represented by the crab that wears this very hard protective shell that can't be penetrated to protect its soft, sensitive insides. People who are very cancerian from their natal chart, they can have a tendency to do that. They can be very protect themselves because they feel everything. The motto for the sign of Cancer is I feel, and feel the energies of others. We might all be feeling the energies of others. The moon, she rules the sign of Cancer. So she loves to be in the sign of Cancer. It's like she's in her own castle. She knows where everything is and she gets to work comfortably there. But by nature, this is an emotional and sensitive energy. Okay. So, and keep this in mind. We all experience this. We all experience this opportunity for this Cancerian lunar growth over the next 6 months, but it's also very, very unique to each and every one of us, depending on where the sign of Cancer comes through your natal chart and what kind of connections are being made with other celestial bodies. For some people, the things might be flowing super smoothly right now. For some people, they might not even experience the overwhelming emotions. But the best part, just getting to know your natal chart a little bit so you can see what area of your life all of these new moons and full moons manifest through. Okay, like it could be if you're a Cancer rising. Wow, if you're a Cancer rising, this is coming through your first house, and this is a very, very special new moon for you. Yeah, I do highly recommend, by the way, if you're a Cancer rising, to wear pearls. And that's why I'm wearing my pearls. This is the dedicated mineral for the sign of Cancer. Can be really good with, first of all, pearls can be really good for keeping the blood clean, like on an epigenetic level, but also they could be good for emotions. Okay, so maybe this is coming, that if you're Cancer rising, this is coming through your first house, and this is kind of a really something to be taken advantage of. If this is coming through your second house, this might have to do with emotions that are involving money and your material possessions. Maybe this is coming through your seventh house and your house of relationships, and there's a lot of emotional turbulence going on with the relationships. So just getting to know your natal chart to understand what I'm talking about here. This way you can finely tune your moon manifestations. And that's really like the huge benefit of an astrology reading. When I give you a reading, I make sure you get the recording of the reading. So you can actually, it's a video recording. You can go back and see, for example, for this new moon, where the sign of Cancer, what area of your life this new moon comes through. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're talking about the collective here. This is going to be very unique for each and every one of us, but there really is a lot going on. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the chart and show you guys what is going on with this new moon in Cancer. Okay, so for those of you who are new to my recordings, I work with geocentric Western astrology. So with that said, we put Earth in the middle of this thing. This is like a snapshot of the tropical zodiac for the time of this new moon. Okay, so June 28th, 2022 at 7:52 p.m. Pacific time. These right here, these are the celestial bodies. Like here's the sun, here's the moon, here's Mercury, Venus, this is the North Node, Uranus, Mars. Okay, and if we go in the wheel a little ways, these are the symbols for the zodiac signs that these things are going to be beaming through onto Earth at the time of this new moon. Okay, so first let's talk about this new moon right here. This is the moon and this is the sun. You can see that they're at 7 degrees. This right here is the symbol or the glyph for the sign of Cancer. So this new moon takes place at 7 degrees Cancer. This is within the first 10 degrees of the sign of Cancer. So it's in the first decan, meaning it's very strong cancerian energy. It's not really necessarily blending in with the other water signs. It's just super cancerian. It's very emotional and very sensitive. All the water signs are, but this one is particularly, it's all about feelings. Okay. Now, I'm just going to dive. Well, no, let's talk about Jupiter first. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to break this all down for you guys. This right here is Jupiter. Okay. And you see these red lines that are going from here to here. It's called a square. This is all calculated through geometry. And it's basically like there's this conversation going on between the new moon and Jupiter. And it's kind of an intense conversation, okay? It's actually can create some tension here. But what Jupiter's job is to expand energies and kind of make them a bigger deal. And he'll bring luck and abundance and faith and wisdom. And the sign of Cancer actually really resonates very well with Jupiter. But currently right now, Jupiter is going through the sign of Aries, which Aries is the warrior. Aries is aggressive and it's forceful and it's hot. Jupiter is like burning up right now, connecting to this watery sign of Cancer, kind of making the emotions a bigger deal. But on that note, I don't normally go into this stuff, but it's such a strong conjunction. I feel like I would kind of be doing a disservice if I didn't. This right here, this symbol might be new to you guys if you've been watching my recordings for a while. This right here is called Black Moon Lilith. Now, Black Moon Lilith is a very intense energy in and of itself. Black Moon Lilith, it's like hidden forces of sexual feminine energy. It can have to do with sexual trauma. It can even have to do with rage, stuff that's in the subconscious, stuff that's very hidden, but it's a strong, sort of harsh, feminine sexual energy. And it's blending in with this already very emotional sign of Cancer. And, just looking at what's going on in the world, I mean, think about just what's going on with the Roe versus Wade stuff. And I'm making this recording on June 21st, so I don't know the outcome of that yet. And really, I don't ever pay attention to I don't watch the news. I don't ever watch any of that stuff. But of course, I see this stuff in my Instagram feed. And to me, it's just like another wedge in humanity. It's just like dividing humanity. And it's really hard for me to see. But I understand that it is an incredibly sensitive topic to people and so sensitive and so emotional that it creates this rage. And it really makes a lot of sense with what I'm seeing here. So keep this in mind. It's really important. And Jupiter's making it hot and a bigger deal. So keep this in mind that, first of all, we don't have very much like grounded earth energy coming from the heavens for this new moon. We have some earth signs going on, but none of them are really working the way they want to. So it's up to us to use our human free will to stay grounded and stay calm and keep our emotions intact, no matter what the outcome is with anything. Okay. Now, let's see here. Also, these pink lines right here, this is another one to mention. I don't know if you guys can see these. These are called a quintile aspect. That's coming from Black Moon Lilith and the sun and the moon over here to Mars in Aries. Now, Mars is totally stoked to be in Aries. Mars, that's his own home too. Mars, he is the warrior. Mars is aggressive and dominant and masculine, and he's working with so much force coming through the sign of Aries. But these quintile aspects going to this new moon is actually a very, very spiritual connection. And in fact, going back up to that Black Moon Lilith, Black Moon Lilith can actually be a very spiritual energy and can even have to do with healing sexual trauma, not just within yourself, but in the collective. Okay. If it's being used appropriately. Okay. And this spiritual connection going to rageful Mars, it's like, this could go either way. This could get really, really crazy. But I think it's really important that we tap into, spirituality, stay grounded, not get too lost in woo-woo land or anything like that. Stay grounded, but try to be practical and spiritual within yourself, and realize that everybody has their own reasons for being emotionally activated by, what's going on in the world. Okay. So there's so much more I could say, but I don't want to make this too long. All right, let's move on to, let's talk about this sign of Gemini here, because we've got some Gemini energy coming through. It's Mercury is super stoked to be in Gemini. This is another one that's in his own home. Gemini rules, it's the sign of communication, and Mercury is the messenger of the gods and has a lot to do with our communication skills. So this is working very comfortably here. This is very supportive to our communication skills. If there are heavy emotions going on, it might be a really good idea to talk it out. And if not, write it out. Okay. And also Venus here is going through Gemini. Venus can kind of soften some of that hyper Gemini energy. So that could be nice. This may, again, so much of this depends on your own natal chart, but this may be involving relationship stuff for some people for sure. Gemini's got a strong polarity to kind of feel two ways about something at the same time. And we're having a semi-sextile connection from Venus up to this new moon as well. So they don't flow so well together. This definitely could be some turbulence in relationships, or even just like the feminine and masculine, that sort of thing. Try to stay balanced, I guess. There's just a lot going on here. Now, also going back down to Mars here. Okay. Just as a reminder, Mars, even just the glyph of Mars, the symbol, it looks like it's ready to penetrate. That's Mars's duty. He's like, I gotta penetrate aggressively. And he does that very well going to the sign of Aries. Well, there's this strong square going from Mars to Pluto over here. I've talked so much about Pluto going through Capricorn, so I'm not going to put too much emphasis on this, but Pluto is the destroyer. Pluto creates a death and rebirth process in a very powerful way. And Pluto is going through the sign of Capricorn, which rules over the structure of our civilization. And he's in retrograde, going backwards. Okay. Just picture the destroyer, driving backwards through the structure of our civilization, making this like super harsh connection to the aggressor Mars going through the sign of Aries. Woof, this is a lot. Let's see, I'll also touch on this here. This is the North Node. The North Node going through the sign of Taurus is absolutely lovely. The sign of Taurus is really what we need right now, because the sign of Taurus is the fixed earth sign that's very grounded and very practical, very connected to earth and slow and patient. but it's not right now because Uranus is right here next to the North Node. Let me break this down a little clearer. The North Node is where celestial energy comes in to Earth. Okay, so again, geocentric Western astrology, Earth is right here. The North Node is where energy comes in, and we could be receiving this calm, patient Taurus energy, but we're not, because Uranus is right next to the North Node, and Uranus like releases this super spasmodic, electrical, revolutionary, like riots on the street type of energy. The ultimate goal of Uranus is freedom, but in the process to get that freedom, there really could be like riots on the streets. And I'm not saying there's going to be riots on the streets with this new moon or anything like that, but just keep in mind that there's just a lot going on. And again, for some of you could be totally just stoked right now, just flowing through life. Everything's good because so much depends on your own natal chart. But as far as what we're just receiving as a collective, there's a lot of just rattling and shaking and aggression. Also, when we see like everything is kind of on one half of the zodiac like this, it's called a bowl. It puts everybody on a mission. Like everybody's on this mission right now, and there's all this cardinal energy. It's forceful. Woo. Okay, then we've got Neptune here, which I've also talked a lot about. This is going to be going on for a long time. Neptune going through the sign of Pisces is a very, very spiritual energy. It's lovely. It's in retrograde right now. Maybe time to kind of like rethink what type of spiritual practices you're indulging in. But this can also, as I've mentioned so many times before, this is really kind of creating some delusions for people. It's such a spiritual, unearthly energy that it can create, it's like magic tricks, and people are being deluded through this Neptune going through Pisces. Okay, then Saturn going through Aquarius. This is like my favorite thing going on right now. So, which is Saturn's the one who makes the rules. Saturn's like laying down all the responsibilities and creates structure. He's not like a fun and playful energy, but I really enjoy what happens to Saturn's energy going through the sign of Aquarius, because Aquarius, it's like the genius of the zodiac, but it's also the sign of humanitarianism. And personally, I am seeing it. I'm seeing all these groups of people, like humanitarian groups, gathering, making not only structures, like structuring their mission, but literally like building structures, like building communities together and that sort of thing. So I'm really enjoying this Saturn in Aquarius energy, but there really is just a lot of turbulence kind of, and not only that, but in July next month, we're going to have the North Node and Mars and Uranus all very strongly conjunct going through the sign of Taurus. So stay tuned for that, because things are getting interesting. Okay, so I will leave that there. I've already mentioned the pearls are, this is the mineral that really resonates very, very well with the sign of Cancer. A lot of people, well, this is just one form of moonstone. I don't have my gray one here, but there's a few different types of moonstone. Moonstone is very much associated with the sign of Cancer, but this is one little thing to keep in mind. Moonstone can actually enhance emotions. Okay, so unless you're very, very specifically, you've been educated, you've been teaching yourself or learning from somebody how to work with Moonstone, you might want to keep the Moonstone on your journal, that you just wrote out what you're trying to manifest in, rather than your body. In fact, for this kind of energy, I wouldn't even really suggest keeping like clear crystal quartz near the body, because it's an amplifier and it can enhance already kind of, just emotional energies. That's the thing I was going to talk about next, is that the sign of Cancer actually rules the breasts. Okay. And that area even can have to do with certain parts of the stomach, can even have a little part to do with the lungs, but this energy can get like emotionally, tense inside and create problems in the breasts. And that's really not just for women. For men, it's more like the chest area, but still, when the moon is transiting through the sign of Cancer, whether it doesn't matter what moon phase it is, that area of our body becomes more sensitive. So we could pay a little extra attention to that part of our body, especially for this new moon. What my suggestion is, especially if you've got some sort of a, a trouble area in the breasts or anything like that, especially if it's being really kind of created from emotional turbulence in your life, set the intention to work with it. Because again, this is new beginnings. The seed is starting to sprout, and we can work with it to heal any sort of, not only just problems with the breast, but anything that's kind of starting with emotions. Okay, so I know that was a lot to process, but I did what I could. I hope it made sense to you guys. If you would like to schedule an astrology reading, please do go to my website, erinwageastrology.com. I think if you're using like a phone or a tablet or something, there's a little menu at the top that you can click on, and a drop down menu will say book online. You can click there, but if you're on a computer, it'll show right on top book online. You can schedule straight through my website. But if you're not seeing any time that is convenient for you to schedule your reading, my business hours are generally from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time. And if that just doesn't work for you, I can be flexible. So then just send me an email at erinwageastrology@gmail.com. I will leave links for those. And I will also leave a full extensive list of stones that very particularly resonate well with this sign of Cancer. Okay, you guys, until next time, namaste to all of you.